I heard Mark Cuban come out recently and say that he don't care, he taking it to his grave. 2006 was rigged, is what Mark Cuban said. Mark Cuban and I have probably had one conversation since then. It was a very cool, cordial conversation. I love Mark Cuban from afar. But Mark, stop saying that. We beat y'all. Did we get some foul calls? Everybody get foul calls. We can all go back and point. I can go back and point in 2011 during one of them series where Dirk had 48. He had 24 free throws. You're not about to tarnish the work that I put in as a young guy. Mark, stop that. Y'all got us, we got y'all. When I tell you Bean came out and put on a clinic, it was nothing Shaq could do because he wasn't just boom, boom, boom. He was boom, boom, fade. Y'all was nice, dog. The 2008 Olympics was so important for me. It wasn't just a redeem team for the team. It was a redeem Wade. I need to redeem myself because I hear what y'all saying. Y'all wanna throw dirt on me while I'm still alive? I'm about to show y'all something.
So you just got back in town.
I just got back in town. My wife and I just celebrated our 11th year anniversary, and we went
Wow.
back to Miami, which was really,
Really?
really cool, Bob, because we got a chance to kind of go back down like memory lane without even trying.
Y'all went like to the old spots and stuff like that?
Yeah, like we stayed at a Satai. You know, my 30th birthday bash was at Satai. You remember my 30th birthday party that was at the
I remember
Satai,
that.
right?
I remember that.
And
I remember
so
that.
when we first started dating, that was one of the spots I took her. Like, yo, let's go to Satai. Satai was player. You know what I mean? I get the suite at Satai looking at the water. So we kind of went back and we went down that memory lane. Like we took a boat out and we got a chance to drive by it's still American Airlines Arena to me, even though it's
Right, right,
Kaseya
right,
Center
right.
now. But we drove right by the arena and that's where we first met. Right. I looked at it's called 601 now. It was called Bongos back in the day. We met at Bongos. And so we've had so many memories. So we were just kind of pointing things out like, oh, you remember this? Oh, you remember that? So it was really good to kind of, as we celebrate our 11th year to go back to Miami and just have all these memories, everything that was created, a lot of things that you forget, you know what I mean, along the journey, along the way. So it was dope, bro.
You've reached the relationship status of now that when you're looking back in things that have happened when it was in the moment. Now you're looking back and like these
Yeah.
milestone moments.
Yeah.
Saying, nigga, y'all old. Which is good though. It's a great thing. Which just means that the relationship has stood that test. Because
Oh, it's gonna be
I
a
tell people all the
test.
time,
It's gonna be an SAT test.
bruh, it's probably the hardest test most men and women are going to take, period. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a test that's always testing.
It's
And as
always
long as you're
testing.
in it, you'll always be in the test. Again, it's
Yeah,
a
that's
beautiful test.
that's why I think it's beautiful to be able to go back and remember certain things because
Exactly.
we live in a world, we live in this world now where it's about what have you done for me lately? You know what I'm saying? We all do. And sometimes, taking a rewind and going back to be able to, think about those moments, think about those memories, think about those car rides, think about, the celebrations, think about when you had those L's and who was there and how you got to this place and all these things, right? Like you need that for the longevity of relationships. Because if you live in what have you done for me lately, the rate of divorce would be even higher than it is
Yeah,
now.
facts.
And
Facts. And
so
it's
I
hard.
think it was therapeutic, just simply going back down to Miami and just thinking about how we got here.
So that would be your marriage tip for those who are trying to, who are in this game of marriage, not game, but this dance of marriage, is
My
to
marriage
continue.
tip,
Yeah.
I learned this from Ice T. I heard Ice T say this. I ain't learned it from him. He ain't teach me this. I heard Ice T say this. And I thought that this was very important for everybody out there. Ice T said people are always coming up to him asking him about marriage. How do you do it? Can you give me some marriage advice? And Ice T said, I know how to be married to my wife. I don't know how to be married to yours. And that right
I
there
saw
is the
that,
marriage. Yes, sir. That's the marriage tip right there. I'm learning
bro.
how to be, still learning how to be married to my wife. I ain't got no marriage tip for nobody else out there because I don't know your wife. I don't know y'all relationship. So please don't take
Right.
anything I say and apply it to your to your marriage because it goes for my wife.
Right. Because you would say, Dwayne
Yeah, don't
said, I need
don't
to do
put me
this.
in that. Don't put me in that. I
Nah,
got my own
I got
struggles. I got my own struggles over here. You know what I'm saying? And I'm trying to figure out how to be married to my wife. I can't help you, dog. I can't help
you.
you. So yeah, that's my marriage advice. Shout out to the professor, Ice T. That was
Shout out.
simple, but great,
Simple.
great, great advice. And I think we all need to understand that. You know, and that was, we laugh about it, but that's real. You know what I mean? Like you got to know who you are in a relationship with. You got to know why you in that relationship with that person, and you got to focus on that. And so I try not to give parenting advice. And even though people always asking and saying, "Oh, you guys are great parents," or "You guys are not," whatever it is, I know how to parent my kids. I know how to be married to my wife, obviously, for 11 years, and it's so much still to learn in both processes. But I don't know yours, so don't ask me.
I love it.
My name
I
is
love
Bennett,
it.
and I ain't in it.
Same. Well, I'm glad you put that in perspective for all of us because that's actually I knew you were going with it. So I was like, you know what that was when he said it too. I was like, yo, that touched the nerve in the sense like, yo, that is the simplest way to say it. Like literally, for those
Yeah.
who are married and married for a while, you knew what he was saying. You knew what he was saying.
Bro, it was the simplest bar that I ever heard. When he said it, I was like, a light bulb went off. I said, ding,
Bob, thing, facts,
ding.
facts.
You're right.
Did you see this thing with Jason Kidd said about y'all about beating y'all or
Did I
like
see
that
what?
that championship beating y'all?
You talking about the 2011 championship?
So they thought they should have won game one, and they said they saw. I'm gonna read. I'm gonna go by the quote, and I'm gonna try to make sure
Is
we
this an
reference the
official
quote as he
quote?
said
Is
it.
it, it's a lot of AI generated stuff going
Hey,
on out here, is it?
I think you're absolutely right, but it said Jason Kidd IG, so I'm gonna assume this is coming from the horse's mouth, where he
I don't
said,
think Jason Kidd got
"Man, we."
Instagram, but let me hear.
Well, he said same after they saw y'all doing a little shadow boxing after that 15-point up in the celebration. Bop, bop, bop. They're like, yo, we ain't losing this game no more. We gonna win this.
Yeah. I've heard that multiple times from different sources that played on that team. I think Brendan Haywood came out and talked about it. I feel like other guys have said that shadow
I think Jet
boxing
said something like
moment.
that too.
Who?
Jet might have said something like that. Jet, Jason Terry.
Yeah, I heard JT say something about that. So obviously, this is a topic of conversation, no matter who said it. The crazy part about it is that I'm trying to remember something that was 14 years ago. But yes, it is one of those moments that when they show when they talk about the 2011 finals, that's one of the highlight moments where you see me hit that three in the corner. We go up 15. I'm not a 3-point shooter, but I hit a three on the run too, Bob. I'm talking about feet down like Ray Allen. Pop that joint in the corner right in front of the bench. You see me hold my wrists up and you see Brian come over and hit me with the shadow boxing. So one,
Bop, bop,
Brian
bop.
and I did shadow boxing before every game. I don't know if you remember that. That was our thing, right? Because Brian and I trained boxing together. And so we took what we trained and we brought that into the season. So before every game in the starting lineup, Brian and I hit each other with the shadow box. Okay, that was our thing. So when I hit the tray ball, big moment, game two of the finals, we up 15, momentum at the crib, crowd going crazy. Brian come over and hit me with the right? The shadow box. I've heard that that's the thing that was the turning point for Dallas Mavericks, right? And to me, that is insane that moment. But I know as an athlete, sometimes all you need is one thing, right? I do know you need one thing sometimes because we had one thing in 2006, right? When we heard that they were already planning and preparing for a parade, that's all we needed. But this is the finals. You should need a shadow boxing to get you to where you need to get to. And so when I heard that, I was like, okay, Jet, you running down like a mini airplane Jet running down the court every time you get a bucket like the airplane you used to throw in class. You know, that paper airplane? That's how Jet running. Everybody has a version of a celebration, but the shadow boxing is the one that turned it around for you guys and made y'all, come back and beat us. Now, I remember hitting that shot. I think it was like roughly 7 minutes plus some left. Let's go. Let's just take a number. Let's say 7:15 on the clock. I remember big moment for us. And then from there, the momentum did change. The momentum did shift, right? They started making shots. We started missing shots. The momentum changed. Obviously, they came back. Dirk hit that amazing left hand layup, to win it, and it hurt. It was heartbreaking. But the notion that the shadow boxing is the thing that turned it around for this team in the NBA Finals is just crazy to me. Like that. All the stuff that we were doing, the shadow boxing, they was like, oh, it was in front of our bench. It was disrespectful. So I'm just like, all right, I guess, but I don't think you need that in the NBA Finals. Like, you're down 15. If you go down 0-2, like, you don't want to do that. So I feel like just being in the NBA Finals and being down 15 is enough going into a timeout to say, yo, let's get our act together. Because it wasn't like we were a much better team than the Dallas Mavericks. Let's get this straight here, right? Like, a lot of people talk about Dallas beating us in that year, and we were a mirror image of each other from record wise throughout the season. I think we were 58 wins, they were like 57 wins, something like that. And their route to the championship was probably harder than our route to the finals, right? They beat
You know
Portland,
what? You're right.
they beat Kobe, they swept
Kobe.
the Lakers,
Yeah.
who was
Yeah.
the back-to-back champs. They beat the young OKC team 4-1. I remember that. And so this team was poised to win a championship that year. We just had sexier names with the big three, and we thought we were them boys. And so it wasn't like they were some scrubs that saw a
True. All
shadow
right.
boxing and
True.
decided
True.
to
True.
come out
True.
and
True.
start whooping our ass. We knew who we was playing against. You know what I mean? We was playing against them dudes at the same
Man,
time.
so here's a thought, and I've always thought about the fact that like you have like these moments, these games or these situations that one switch changes kind of everything, right? So if you
Yeah.
look at the fact that, right, so this moment, so now mind you, if they go down 2-0, does the series stays the same? If they instead of tying at 1-1, the series does it
Well,
start like those
well,
little things
yeah.
like that. Like just imagine when y'all was playing Dallas the first time, and you came like we're not going out like that. If y'all go down on 3, do y'all come back? Like so those kind of
Well, just remember, Bob, they had 3 games at home right after that. Remember that. That was still when it was 2-3-2.
3-2. That's right.
So we're going back to Dallas, whether we up 1-1 or 2-0. They could go home and win 3 in a row. Once again, this is a very good Dallas Mavericks team. I don't remember the entire roster, but let's go with what I remember. Dirk and Tyson Chandler, great big who protected the paint, pick and roll, dunk on you. They did everything right. I said Brendan Haywood obviously as a backup. They had Sean Marion, good defender. They had the Jet who played lights out. JJ Barrera, Deshaun Stevenson. They had the perfect players around their star player, right? Dirk being their star player, and then all these other guys like Jason Terry probably could have, outside of Dirk, take Dirk away. Jason Terry probably could have been MVP of how amazing he played. And then we had like Brian had to guard JT. Brian can guard almost anybody, but it's hard to guard that dude moving all around. He was coming off all kind of screens. He was moving. He was tearing us up, right? So they had a very good team. We had a team that was still trying to find our identity, but we were good enough. And we were obviously better than the East because we got to the finals that year. But you're talking about a team that had already been playing together, that already had chemistry, that has a Hall of Fame coach and Rick Carlisle on that sideline. You're talking about a young Miami Heat team trying to figure it all out with Spo being 3 years on the sideline. Like, let's not act like we were
Yeah,
supposed to win that finals. Now, yes, we thought we were going to win it because that's how cocky that people say we were, and we were that cocky. We supposed to be that cocky. You don't win if you don't have that cocky confidence. But we're going against a team that's already been there.
true. You're right.
I
You're
don't I
right.
don't
And they,
know I don't know what they did the years before as I sit here right now, but I know that they were battle tested. We was not battle tested. And so when I look
mhm,
at game 2, I look at a team that is battle tested versus a team that is still trying to figure it all out. Because we
yeah.
did crumble in game 2 because we wasn't battle tested yet.
Mhm.
And this team was battle tested. So you could take a wound and a lick and go down 15. And then if you're battle tested, you can come back and you can do what they did. And so when you hear that, it's kind of like I hope the shadow boxing one of the thing that we gonna keep pointing to say that's why y'all came back and won that finals because we actually went up to Dallas and went up 2-1. Even though they beat us in that game, we won the next game, game 3.
Right.
So
Okay.
we were up 2-1, but that team was battle tested. Any blow that we hit them with, they wouldn't fall. You know what I'm saying? Certain teams, you hit them with blows, they fall. They wouldn't fall because they were battle tested. They got one of the greatest players of all time. Like Dirk is one of the greatest players to ever touch a basketball. And so he wasn't going nowhere. He wasn't going down. And so whatever. But yeah, it was a great test for us. And that's why we were able to go to the finals the next 3 years because we met a battle tested Dallas Mavericks team that put us in our place. that first year. We was, you know what I'm saying? The whole world hated us and we hated the whole world. And that's kind of the mentality that we were trying to take on the court. And that wasn't the right mentality. But ultimately, they were more battle tested than we were. They had more experience than we had. And they beat us.
As a Miami fan, I think you just gave me a little bit of, I guess, final like closure. Because I ain't gonna lie, I was one of those guys from like, I'm a Miami fan, and I'm, you got the Hurricanes. We cocky by nature, so we was okay with y'all being super cocky and everyone hating us. We was okay
Well, we
with all
had to
that.
be. Nobody liked us.
Right,
We had to
right.
find our own armor. Our armor
Yeah,
was we don't fuck with y'all. Y'all don't fuck with us. Let's go. Like
we
that was
love
our
that.
armor. That ain't who we were though. Like we're not those basketball players.
You're right. All right, and I'm gonna give you that because mainly, I think the fact that you said they were battle tested, I think kind of opened my eyes because Dallas's trek to the finals that year was tough. Like they earned
Bro,
that.
they swept the Lakers.
They
We're
earned
talking
that.
about Kobe being Bryant
Yeah,
coming
they
off
earned it.
of back-to-back championships.
I
They
forgot about
swept them. We're talking about Brandon Roy. Now, they was tested. They won 4-2. We're talking about Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, and James Harden. 4-1 them. We're talking about a very good Dallas Mavericks team over there. Right?
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
right.
We're
You're
talking
right.
about a battle tested team, not just that year, the previous years. You're talking about a Heat team that just got together. And I know it's going to be controversy on the big three, but like, I don't feel like we did a good job. And when I say we, I'm talking about the entire team of using and maximizing our role players the way that we should. We have some guys that could have helped us, but we didn't utilize them the right way. We didn't really know how. We knew the big three and we knew that these guys were supposed to take us there and we didn't do it. But we had some guys over there. We had Mike Bibby. We had Eddie House. We had some guys on that team that could have made big shots or could have did things for us, but we didn't maximize our bench like they maximized. They had Brian Cardinal come off the bench taking charges. He changed the game. I remember. You know why I remember? Because I went to the hole to try to take off. Brian Cardinal took a charge on me, and I pulled my hip flexor. I strained my hip flexor in that series, and it took a little power from me. And I was like, it wasn't dirty. It was just a smart veteran play to take a charge instead of trying to meet me at the rim where no one really could. And so, like, they had guys that come in and do that. We didn't maximize our role players in that space. And a lot of it is on the big three. A lot of it is on our coaching staff as well, not on our role players. Not at all. But we wasn't prepared. We wasn't ready. They were. And let's not forget, Spo was not the Spo he is now. But Rick Carlisle was Rick Carlisle. And so give it up to him. Give it up to him. And also, too, man, just going back to that, since we on the Dallas topic. I heard Mark Cuban come out recently and say that he don't care. He taking it to his grave. 2006 was rigged, is what Mark Cuban said. Mark Cuban. Mark Cuban and I have probably had one conversation since then. It was a very cool, cordial conversation. I love Mark Cuban from afar. Everything that he has accomplished, everything he's done. But Mark, stop saying that. Mark, we beat y'all. We beat y'all. Did we get some foul calls? Everybody get foul calls. We can all go back and point. I can go back and point in 2011 during one of them series where Dirk had 48. He had 24 free throws
Mm.
in one of those games. Does that mean that does that mean that the refs wanted them to win? I don't know, but it wasn't rigged. Like we still had to play the game. And so, yeah, you had a young guy that was becoming a star in the NBA. Did I get a few whistles? Yes, but was I the only one attacking the basket every play? Probably so, bro. I'm gonna get some whistles too. I'm gonna get some calls because they were fouling. Let's not act like that. So you're not about to tarnish the work that I put in as a young guy to do something that not a lot of young guys have done in this game to say it was rigged. Mark, stop that. Y'all got us. We got y'all.
It's
It's all
even now.
love, baby. It's all
It's
love.
even
All right, a lick
now.
for a lick now. Stop that bullshit, Mark. Talking
But
about talking about he taking it to the grave that it was
the
rigged.
grave,
I
we
don't
gotta stop
I don't
that.
know. I wasn't in the meetings, but I was on the floor and we had to win those games. So
I love
ultimately,
it.
we were
Say
down
it.
2-0. We won 4 in a row. We did our part to make sure we did what we supposed to do. So we had some guys, well, just like them, we had some veteran guys, some role players that played their role to perfection. Don't let's not put that on Gary Payton and Antoine Walker and White Chocolate and James Posey and Udonis Haslam. All these guys who did their job to make sure that Shaq and I was protected to do what we needed to do to help us win that championship. And we had Pat Riley on that sideline, so we had an advantage. It wasn't rigged. We figured out a way to win, just like y'all figured out a way to win in 2011. Let's stop this now.
I love it. I love it. Tell them. So you talk about the veterans. How important? I know you look at this league and it's a young league, but how important was having the veterans around, and how important is it to make sure that we continue to have veterans around?
I mean, man, obviously as an older guy, we're going to talk about veterans until we blue in the face. The game has changed a lot, so it's not a lot of veterans around, and it's a lot of reasons why people, they could point to a lot of data to say why it should or why it shouldn't. But for us, when we played the game in our era, those veterans were needed, not just for the locker room. Obviously they were needed for off the court as well. A lot of guys coming in when you become a professional, you don't know how to be a professional. You need someone to show you the way. You need someone that you idolize, you looked up to, that has done it before, that has made mistakes to tell you, do not step over here, let's go over here. Like these veterans are more important, when it comes to off the court and in their locker room. But when you have veterans that can still play, Gary Payton was 37 years old. But every time GP stepped on that floor, GP has been in the finals before. He's played in many big games. He's played against some of the greatest to ever play. GP took the other team's best player. I needed that as a young guy because I needed to score 37 on the other end for us to win the finals. And so to have veteran guys to step in, play these spot minutes, these important minutes, hit these big shots that's been there before, man, you need that. That's why OKC couldn't beat. They had Derek Fisher when we played them in the finals, but they didn't have enough of those veteran probably positions to help those young guys that was very talented when you talk about Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, and James Harden at that time. More veterans around them, they possibly could have gave us a harder series, but we ended up winning 4-1 because we had what we needed. We was battle tested. We had the veterans around us to help us. They didn't have that. And so, man, these veterans are very, very important when you want to get to that level. If you just want to be a team that just want to play in the NBA and win some games and hopefully make the playoffs, then maybe you don't need a lot of veterans. That's why what SGA did this year as the leader of that team was really, really impressive because he didn't have a lot of that. That was a young team that wound up putting on that impressive run to win that championship. We don't see that often. But every team now think they can do that. You're lying to yourself. You can't. Everybody can't do that. So if you're able to look around the league and see certain veterans that you can have a part of your team, a part of that DNA to help you get to that next level, it probably behooves of you to be able to have
So
some of those guys on the roster to help you continue out. The things that the coach can't. The coaches, even though it's 12 of them motherfuckers now, what the coaches can't provide, that the players can provide. Like we had Juwan Howards of the world. We had guys that really, really was battle tested that helped us in those moments where our mind was going a little crazy and those veterans can bring us back. You need that. No matter how great LeBron was, no matter how great I was, no matter how great Chris was, if we didn't have those guys around us in those moments to quiet that noise or to tell us certain things that we didn't even know yet, then, I don't know if we'd be sitting here. I don't know if I'd be sitting here with 3 rings or not without those veteran guys around me. So it's very, very important if you want to take that step to hold that trophy over your head.
you mentioned a player when you said Brandon Roy.
Brandon Roy, bad boy.
Great what ifs, like, yo, if he doesn't get hurt, what if, or what could have happened? What could have, like, how many of these stories do you hear? You hear these every Mount Rushmore, and I have my list, but is there do you have like a top 5 of guys you wish? And again, there's guys who have gotten hurt that may have for example, I use Grant Hill who got hurt, and his trajectory changed, and he still played for a long time.
Yeah.
His trajectory changed. But there's some guys who, if it wasn't hurt, their careers were cut so short. Is there like a list of guys of you for that?
I'm sure it's a lot of them. In my era, the ones I remember, like you said, growing up watching Grant Hill. And when you get to go back and look at the highlights of Grant Hill right now, how he came in the league dominating, like my Chicago Bulls, like Scotty was that guy, but boy, Scotty couldn't stay in front of Grant. Could no one stay in front of Grant Hill? And he putting you in the basket. Tracy McGrady, amazing career, right? You're talking about guys that still had great careers, but if they're not injured, they don't get injured, then now we're talking even in a different category. That number goes up for those guys. So Tracy McGrady, Yao
Ah,
Ming career was cut short because of injuries. You're talking about a big guy that can fade away right by the 3-point line. Like his touch was crazy. I saw one game. One game, Yao came to town, right? This is when Shaq was in Miami. And Shaq always got up for like any matchup to anybody that they said was on his level. Shaq was in the locker room before the game. He was getting ready. He's like, I'm about to show him tonight. I'm about to show him tonight. They think he on my level, right? Like, I'm like, yeah, big fella. Yeah, big fella, let's go. When I tell you, Bean came out and put on a clinic, it was nothing Shaq could do because he wasn't just boom, boom, boom. He was boom, boom, fade. Like, y'all was nice,
Yo,
dog. And I'm not saying,
yo,
obviously they had some matchups and Shaq could go and throw the stats out, but I'm talking about watching him when I first came in the league and watching how you couldn't do nothing with Yao Ming if y'all didn't get injured. So y'all is another one of those guys. Brandon Roy. If Brandon Roy don't get injured, we're talking about one of the top shooting guards of all time. We're
yep,
talking about Jordan, Kobe, Roy, Wade, Harden, West, Iverson, whoever you want to put in there, Roy is in there. So you got these guys that, injuries, obviously change the trajectory of their career. But boy, if you're a hooper and you understand the game, you know that they were some bad boys and you respect them for it.
man.
I remember that I was possibly going to be on that list. And, I look at my injuries and I say, yeah, it held me back from getting to the level I really wanted to get to. But I was able to fight through a lot of it and still have a great career. But I remember being on that list at one
Put
point
you
in
on that list?
2007 when I got hurt. Yeah, I remember they was putting me on the list of like one of those guys that could have been.
Got you.
You know what I'm
That,
saying? And even though we talking about some guys that still is Hall of Famers, but when you at that level at a very early age, they're talking about you in the lights of these greats. And when the injuries come, it takes you down a little bit. It takes you back a step. And a lot of guys can't, like Brandon Ward, he could not continue to play the
right,
game of basketball because of his injuries. Some
right.
guys are able to still play and have a good career, like a Grant Hill, or like a Tracy McGrady, right? Still have a Hall of Fame career. But I remember being on that list in 2007. And I remember it being something that I put on the bulletin board in a sense to say I will not be on this list when my career is over with. Like, and so 2008, I fought hard to get back to the health that I needed to get back to. That's why the 2008 Olympics was so important for me. It wasn't just a redeem team for the team; it was a redeem Wade. I need to redeem myself because I hear what y'all saying, and I ain't trying to be one of those guys.
You went bald head for it. You cut your hair off.
Yeah, my wife told me don't ever do that again. But I look crazy. But I was in that's the mode I was in. I was in
That was,
like, oh,
it was a grind.
y'all wanna throw dirt on me while I'm still alive? I'm about to show y'all something. You know what I mean? I'm about to show y'all where I come from. And that was my mentality, right? Like I was in a real like I ain't laughing and joking mentality. I'm dunking everything and I'm dunking on everybody. And when I get my time, I'm gonna show y'all why I'm one of them bad boy. And I got an opportunity to do it. Not a lot of people get that opportunity. Mine came right away. And that's the thing. Like mine came right away. I ain't have to wait for it. And so that summer making an Olympic team, which is going into the Hall of Fame this weekend, was really, really special for me. It was probably one of the most important parts of my career. Not the 2006 finals, not the ones that came after. 2008 Olympics is one of the most important parts of my career because I had to prove to myself, and of course I proved to the world, but I had to prove to myself that I was who I thought I was. But I had to work hard, boy. Shout out to Tim Grover. We put in work. We put in work to get me back to that level. And no matter what, I was prepared and I was ready for my opportunity. And that Spain game, your boy was ready. But I passed that one, and I passed that one with flying colors. And so for me to be able to, to put that work in, to mentally overcome all the challenges I was dealing with, and to go out there and play the game I love at the highest level, the highest of highest levels, and to get back to being in that conversation with Kobe, LeBron, Dwight Howard, myself, like we were the top dogs in the league at that time, right? Those were the names. And so to get back into that conversation with those guys, I felt right at home. Melo, let me not forget Melo. Those guys, like we were there. And so it felt good to get back in that conversation and get back into that place that I felt like I worked hard to get, to be in. But I had to work even harder to get back in it. And so it felt good, man. It felt really good.
I feel remiss not forget to talk about during that Heatles era, one of the moments during the Heatles era, which is a great era in itself, which to this day I feel like it's gonna have its own like workshop about like that. That's that era, right?
Yeah.
I'm thinking about Linsanity because y'all know. So Jeremy Lin just retired.
Yeah. Shout out to Jeremy Lin.
All this kind of happened, but you got like the fact that Linsanity happened during the Heatles era, and like for those who don't understand Linsanity, like Linsanity
Yo,
happened.
I remember All Star Weekend, and I remember every reporter in the world was around Linsanity. Like it didn't matter who else was in the league. when we were at our media day for All-Star Weekend, everybody, I remember looking to my right like, this is insanity. Kids was buying his jerseys. Bro, it was crazy. And all we wanted to do was get our paws on him. We was like, yo, let us see what this is about. But watching him from afar, bro, he was doing it. Like, he was hitting game winners with no time on the clock. He was going into Madison Square Garden. He was going against the Lakers. He was doing his thing, dog. I mean, he was in Madison Square Garden because he's with Knicks at the time. What he was doing, no one had seen that before. But he came into Miami and we shut all that shit down. Mario Chalmers, Norris Cole, picked him up
Mario
94.
fucking Chalmers.
Pick him up
But
94. We shut
but it
all
was
that down.
but it was beautiful. You're right, because I remember because Mario loved talking about that too.
Oh, they did. Hey, listen, we calmed the noise. But, bro, what he did, we have not seen that level of media attention. And I don't know how long it was. Let's just say it was a month and a half span where you saw a player that was obviously a player that was good enough to make the NBA, that got an opportunity, and he fucking shined, bro. And he shined bigger than the brightest star. And you don't see that often. Not bigger than the brightest star. Not bigger than Kobe. Not bigger than LeBron. He was at that month and a half, nobody was bigger than Linsanity.
And he was playing with Melo during that time.
I think Melo missed a couple games with injury, and Melo saw what he was doing. Melo came back early. Like, hold on. Linsanity was getting ISO. Melo was on the wing calling for the ball. You can move out the way. It's my time. Shout out to Jeremy Lin, man. That was an incredible moment, dog.
It just showed when people talks about like how the Mecca and like if you do well at the Garden and you do well in New York, how much it can amplify you. Which is why you always hear people talk about the trade, like someone's going to be traded there, trying to go there, they're trying to get there because you saw what happens if you do well there. So like doing well in New York, was that the reason why when you guys go there, because I know you love talking about playing in the Garden and like doing well in the Garden.
Love the Garden.
Like everybody talks about going to the Garden and doing well and just rocking out. Like Steph, everyone.
Bro, I just came from Madison Square Garden watching the Zombies and the Descendants show. And afterwards, we got a chance to go back and meet the cast, and they were saying the exact same thing that we say. And they were saying it on the stage the whole time. They was like, we in Madison Square Garden. Like, no matter who, no matter what, that stage at MSG is like no other, dog. And you have to perform because when you walk in there, you smell the history. You not only see the history, it still smells the same up in the Madison Square Garden. They changed nothing. But you want to perform on the biggest stage in the world. And so to watch Linsanity, to watch Jeremy Lin perform on the biggest stage in the world at the time leading up to All-Star. And it was just, bro, it was one of the greatest shows on earth. But yeah, like I said, he came to Miami and we
Shut that shit
shut that shit down. All right, man, I got to go to the dentist, man. All right.
Close it out.
Hey, listen, I ain't gonna listen. I know that we got the studio and you in the studio right now, but I enjoy our car rides, Bob. I enjoy our conversations on the car ride through traffic in LA. You know what I mean? Going from thing to thing, on my schedule, man. So I appreciate everybody that tapped in, that tuned in on our last car ride, man. I appreciate everybody who picked up this content, that sprayed it around and and so forth and so on. So much more conversations to have. And so, man, as always, appreciate you guys taking a ride with me and taking the time out with me.
All right, peace.
All right, love.